It's working. Let my team know just got in. And I think, yeah, we are live now. So, hey, everybody. Hey, everyone who was able to join in on TikTok first. And if you weren't on TikTok, then hopefully I'm seeing you on the Facebooks, the Instagram, YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me. My name is Dr. Z. Today, I'm even making sure the chat pops up so I don't miss any comments. And we get an opportunity to have a nice interactive conversation while we're out here doing our thing. With that, jumping into dreams and downloads. So, hey, and I appreciate everyone that joins on with me. Again, if you are new to me, you will come to see that I definitely explore a lot of different ideas and thoughts at different times. And why not? Because why not? Today, before our hips and heart yoga class, I'm definitely jumping in and exploring a little bit about, about dreams and downloads. And let me go back to my notes since I bothered to get super prepared for y'all tonight to make sure that in this month of Black History, we not only are showing up as the best version of ourselves, but also making sure that even the versions that pop on here couldn't get any better than this right here. All right, so to begin, I don't know if any of you all ever noticed that when you go to sleep, you definitely have dreams. And if you don't notice, is it because you aren't in a position where you actually recall the dreams that you're having? And or if you do recall them, do you ever take time to gather information and write those dreams down and get a little more insight or explore it? Like, why is that what came up in my dream over this past night? And I know people say, oh, I'm getting a download, and they may be awake, and it's like magically you're gaining some information about something of either importance, significance, something you've been waiting to get the answers for, and now it's like finally happening. When we go to sleep at night, we usually, unless you're very intentional about your nighttime routine and how you show up at night, typically people go to sleep and they don't really like resolve whatever they had going on for the day. They just probably pass out or let the TV watch them until they go to sleep. However you go about it, when you do create a night routine for yourself, it puts you in a position where you can be intentional about not only what you're dreaming about, you can create lucid dreaming, which is where you are able to dream about specific things and be able to get answers to the information that you're looking for in life. What I've noticed is that over this past year or two, and not that I haven't noticed that dreams hold significant information, but intuitively, there's a lot that we can gain from listening to ourselves. So listening to our physical bodies, listening to our minds, listening to how we feel when we're around other people. So noticing when you show up and you're around other folks, how does your body feel? Do you notice if you get more nervous, you get more anxious, you get more happy, you find yourself feeling drained or depleted? But notice what comes up when you spend time with other people and how their energy tends to impact you. And when you find yourself going to sleep at night, we pretty much carry everything with us that happened throughout the day. So any of the things that were not resolved when we were in our waking hours, they end up getting resolved in our dreams. Either we get the final resolution or we recognize those areas that we probably chose to ignore because it was uncomfortable, it was difficult, it was maybe something we just really weren't trying to deal with that day. And find ourselves in a space of now you're having a dream and it feels super real. In these dreams, and this is because I took these notes to make sure I could bring this information and not just go off on a tangent and be who knows where. What I've noticed lately in dreams, and especially as you pay attention to the different seasons and then energetically how you show up in different seasons, is that some people find themselves having more vivid and active dreams based on what they've got going on in their lives, based on the things that they are exploring and trying to wonder and figure out. And going to sleep, your body doesn't have an opportunity. Hi, I think it's Maddie. I'm not going to even mispronounce it, but the last is 8817. You go to sleep, you don't realize that things are getting resolved, and then you find yourself feeling like you wake up, you don't have any rest, and you don't have any rest because You were actively still processing the rest of your day that didn't get resolved. The beauty of being able to look at that, and I'm tying together a couple of different concepts and absolutely inviting y'all to join me for yoga later on this evening, is in my own yoga practice, what it taught me was to start to pay attention to what's happening in my body, recognize when I have a hesitation to do something, and getting into a space of learning and exploring the art of non-attachment, but also giving my dreams more importance than they used to be. Having nightmares, and I don't know how old some of y'all are, but if you grew up in like Freddy Krueger was like, a thing, I was very intentional to go to sleep every night and think of happy thoughts because I was not trying to get taken by Freddy Krueger in my dreams ever. Technically low key, still feel that same way today. With that being said, giving your dreams a little more importance and being in a space where you can recall your dreams gives you more insight into information that happens when you are not conscious. When we're conscious, we can focus our attention where we want it to go, but when we go to sleep and we've relaxed our bodies, we've allowed ourselves the opportunity to possibly rest, your mind is still moving and still thinking and still processing things that didn't get resolved during the day. Sometimes our dreams can even bypass our logic and our our egos and even our survival roles. So most of the time during the day, we're looking at how can we resolve stuff, ignore it, keep it moving, not have to address it at all. When you're dreaming, you don't have the opportunity to necessarily run away, but you do get the gift of being able to look at what are the things that were coming up in my daytime hours that I didn't get a chance to resolve, I didn't get answers to, and maybe it is causing now distress within my dreams. Most women, and you probably have heard before, like women's intuition. When you embrace your feminine energy and you recognize how significant and strong and important it is, and all people have feminine energy, but women specifically, I'd just like you to stay with me for a moment. When you embrace it and that gut feeling that you have, you give it the attention it deserves. When you go to sleep, you may be able to get answers to those questions and resolutions to stuff that you were maybe wondering, is that or is that not what was happening? And when you don't have the opportunity to block your own thoughts and like create things in a scenario that you're looking for, that intuition about what to do next shows up in your dreams. When you first wake up, you probably only have like so many minutes, depending on how intense or how vivid the dream is or isn't, to write down what's happening and give yourself a moment to, now, thanks to AI, you could drop it into a chat GPT or something like that and have what you dreamed about analyzed in comparison to what you've been going through in life. So instead of just kind of raw dogging the world and thinking, man, I'm having these crazy dreams, it must be about what I ate. It could be, but there could also be more information that you didn't, again, I keep saying you didn't get a chance to process or explore. But what happens when you don't do that, it now starts to get stored in your body. And then your body is holding these things that your mind didn't get a chance to process through. And when your body starts holding it, if you've ever heard of the book, The Body Keeps the Score, when you have experienced different things, different parts of your body start to get activated and they hold the weight of what was happening. If you ever notice your throat may be getting like sore or it's hard to talk or hard to say things, chances are you have your truth is being, like, respectfully, it's being squashed. People aren't listening to it. They're not giving you a chance to tell your truth or be heard. When you are carrying the weight of like responsibility and like how am I like doing my life in general, that's where sometimes our hips kind of hold a lot more weight, especially for women, because that is our biggest area within our body that we store energy, strength, and like just kind of power in, and our womb area is there. So it's like we're holding all these things. And when we don't get answers in waking hours, when we can't fight to be right, our subconscious takes over. And sometimes in our dreams, those things that needed to come up and be addressed are able to be addressed. If you can wake up and take that information from the morning and apply it to what happened yesterday, maybe the week before, maybe the season you're in life, and you can do something with that information. So maybe it's a matter of, yeah, I am feeling kind of stagnant, or like I want to do this or want to do that. What are those things? Write it down. When you get up, take the information. If you are able to recall your dreams, write that information down, see how that applies to maybe goals or things that you've set for yourself, and then determine, is this actually a download of information, or is this a further confirmation of where I should be and how to go about doing it on purpose? Let's see. Once you get this information and say, yes, you can recall your dreams, now you have an idea of what the dream is saying or what it was about. Whether you figure it out on your own, buy dream books, use AI to process your dreams, or I don't know, ask someone else who isn't intuitive, what does this mean? When you get that information, you get to decide, is this clarity on something that you were seeking responses for? Did you notice it or feel it in your body first? And as you're thinking of these things, did you give yourself a chance or permission to check, like, how often is this actually coming up? Where do I feel it? Is it in my heart? Is it in my head? Is it in my throat? Is it in my hips? Like, where's it at? And would it be inconvenient to actually address this thing now? Because those are usually the things that pop up most in our subconscious once we do go to sleep, because we don't want to deal with it. And when you're asleep, that's when it tends to pop up. So those dreams of being chased, or that fear of being hurt, or maybe you're fighting for your life, there's something that's happening in your waking hours that's exactly how you feel there. It may not be literal, like literally you're fighting someone, but there may be something that you're fighting for. It could be a promotion, it could be a relationship, it could be more money, it could be just to be seen or heard, or to be able to help people better. But there's something that it's not getting its just desserts. Once you get this information and you decide what area of life you're putting it in, whether it's, like I said, relationships, business, women, motherhood, men, fatherhood, or even learning what systems no longer work for you. And this is why kind of like looking at different seasons was important to check out last week. Different seasons provide different opportunities for what it is we're exploring and wanting to create, not only in our own lives, but how we show up in the world. So when you're clear on what season you're currently in, it makes it easier to take even more of those downloads that you get when you get those intuitive things of like, wow, that makes sense now. I should probably do ... Then you maybe have a dream that solidifies, yeah, you probably should. Or this is that area that you fear. You get to explore a little deeper. Are you actually scared of the thing, or are you scared you might really be successful and great at it? Quick little segue tie-in. Since it is Black History Month, I figure, why not bring up the reality of how frequently Black women tend to embody surviving and how that shows up for them, and that women in general hold a lot of energy, they hold a lot of weight, they hold a lot of things for other people, and they are expected to be nurturers, they're expected to show up for other people, they're expected to be the ones that are going to curate a safe space or a safe place for others. And what happens is, if you look back and kind of, specifically Black people, look at slavery, look at some of how those things have shown up, and the reality of the women still needing to figure out how to keep themselves as safe as they can, while also simultaneously tolerating things that no longer serve them, and knowing in different seasons what level of intensity they were going to need to tolerate just to survive, to maybe keep their kids alive, to possibly even keep their spouses alive if they were afforded the opportunity to not be separated. But women holding the space of, I got to take care of myself. I have to take care of all these people that I care about directly. And then I also need to take care of these people that are actively causing me pain and harm in various different ways, and tolerate it enough so that the people I care about have a possibility of being okay. When you are doing this on a consistent basis, you will find yourself holding more things in your body than you could imagine. That when you go to sleep, that's finally the chance that your body was like, let's relax. And then your mind kicks into hyperdrive. So now what your body didn't get to express or get out, it's coming out in your dreams, and you're having to do something with it. So when you wake up, if you can take that info, write it down, and figure out, what are the, I don't want to say what are the demons you're fighting, but what are the things that you really do need to address that are preventing you from being able to show up in the ways that offer the greatest version of you, but also, what do you even want to be doing in life? Are the things you're doing working for you or against you? Are you tolerating different stuff? And if so, in this moment of looking at this season, and I know calendar year wise, we're not even in January no more. Whew, thank goodness it's over. We're in February. There's lots of different things to be celebrating. You could celebrate Valentine's Day. You could celebrate Black History Month. There's other stuff, and I don't feel a necessity to go into every specific thing, but each month is a new opportunity to rewrite how you want to do the rest of that 28 days or 30 to 31 days in the most typical months. And what would it mean to take all the information that you already intuitively receive, put it together, allow that to support you and how you are already planning on doing life anyways, instead of always maybe constantly looking for what's the best way to do it when you already intuitively know. You know it in your body, you know it in your mind. When you go to sleep, your mind re-brings it back up again and will either replay the areas where you weren't feeling okay and safe, or you might even get to a point of being intentional to have dreams that are not only supportive to what it is you're looking to accomplish with your goals, but to feel it and embody it in a dream state. So when you wake, you won't miss it when it happens in real life. I think, let me just check my notes one more time. Questions to ask. I invite you all to look at what are the things that have been showing up for you in your dreams. What truths keep returning when you stop forcing them? And giving yourself permission to acknowledge this as wisdom and not something that's crazy or that you didn't understand, but you really do know the answers to all the questions that you're wondering in life. And we feel it within our bodies first, and then we give ourselves permission to allow our minds to go ahead and catch up. And sometimes it can happen opposite. Mentally, we know the right answers. Physically, we're still feeling stuff that felt great, and we don't really want to break those connections yet. But our mind is like, if we keep doing it this way, it's not actually going to continue to feel good either. Then you go to sleep, and then you have a whole replay of this whole scenario of your body and your mind talking to each other and trying to get on the same page and pointing out what areas could you do something different and how can you be more intentional about it. Since I hear somebody knocking on my door, I'm going to leave you guys with be intentional about how you set up going to sleep at night and look at what things can I culminate or conclude before I go to sleep so I can be intentional about my dreams or have lucid dreams of how it worked out in my favor and was great. As well as, she is interrupting us. As well as, I would love to see y'all in like the next 30-ish or so minutes in this yoga class for the hips and heart openers. We're going to be moving our bodies to open up some more of those things so that you don't have to hold it tonight. And when you do go to sleep, you'll be ready to go ahead and embody the greatest version of yourself and really give yourself an opportunity to enjoy life. Well, thank y'all for joining me. I look forward to seeing y'all next week. Apparently, I must go open the door for my child, who I should make do yoga with me too, or invite. But I hope this Dreams and Download offered a little info, insight, and I look forward to seeing y'all later. Bye, y'all. Figure out if I can stop it again.